Now, look, everyone knows I think Arsenal are going to win the league. I've been banging on about it since before a ball was kicked this season. I was on TalkSport last night. Again, I said that I think Arsenal will win the league. I said I think they're the best positioned, and I truly do believe that they will end this season as champions. However, of course, today they've won again. And I think a lot of the focus from people will be that's another victory for Arsenal. That's 6 home victories in a row. They've won off the back of playing in Europe, which is always very difficult to do. They have moved 4 points clear at the top of the league, and everything is rosy. However, there's a lot of positives to talk about with regard to Arsenal's performance today. There is an awful lot, and we will get into that. However, I think we need to actually highlight a slight concern for Arsenal. There is a chink in the armour here, and I think they're going to be fine. I still believe that they will win the league, and it is an impressive result to win today. However, they know more than anyone that a 2-0 cushion isn't always enough. Think about their run in last season. They got themselves into a position where they were winning 2-0 away at Anfield, for example. That, to me, is the hallmark of champions. That is a defining moment in a season. In a title run-in, you're going away to Anfield and you find yourself 2-0 up. The game did not finish 2-0 and Arsenal did not win the league. And that is not the only example of Arsenal getting themselves into a 2-goal cushion lead and not accruing the 3 points at the end of the game. Now, look, today they got the 3 points. And it's very easy to turn a blind eye to the conversation that I am now putting forward. But Arsenal do need to learn from this. They need to make sure that they get the third goal because Arsenal, at 3:15 today, everybody thought that Arsenal were going to win the game like they did against Lens. It was easy. It was a stroll in the park. They were knocking the ball about really well and scoring some beautiful goals. Odegaard was just glorious today. A joy to behold. Truly sensational. And looking at the quality of goals that Arsenal was scoring and the way that Wolves just didn't really have an answer to anything that they were offering, it looked like the game would easily end 3-4-5-0. By 4:30, it looked like Arsenal might end up getting a point. That's the jeopardy in the Premier League. And if you don't make sure when you're ahead, if you don't take the chances, and if you're slightly sloppy at the back, I mean, what was Zinchenko up to today? I can count at least 3 times that he gave the ball away in dangerous areas, and I truly believe that if he had done that against a more clinical opposition, the game could have ended a draw. Now, look, there is a lot to be positive about with regard to Arsenal today, and I don't want to sort of rain on their parade. I know if you're an Arsenal fan watching this, you probably want to hear me wax lyrical about the brilliance of Saka or Odegaard just pulling the strings, conducting an orchestra. He was really sensational. Maybe Declan Rice, again, he is a warrior, isn't he? Can you ever, sometimes you think of the parallel universe. Remember the pursuit of Declan Rice? At one point, it looked like he was going to Manchester City, didn't it? It was done to Man City. I think most people thought that the City move for Declan Rice was going to happen and they were going to end up with a midfield that would just be sensational. Can you imagine Rodri, Rice and Bernardo Silva in the same midfield? It would just be one of the best midfields ever assembled, and there would be no way that anybody would ever be able to wrestle the Premier League title away from that midfield. Honestly, I think that is true. We saw how vulnerable Man City were when they didn't have Rodri. If Declan Rice just slopped into that to fill that void, they wouldn't be dropping any points. So that didn't happen, and Arsenal fans should thank their lucky stars that it didn't happen. I think for the competitiveness of the Premier League, needed that not to happen as well. But in that parallel universe where he goes there, everything is different. But he's an Arsenal player. And yet again, it's just a majestic performance from him. He's everything that you want from a midfielder, isn't he? He is everything that I want Enzo Fernandez to be. He's everything that I want Moises Caicedo to be. He's just truly, truly brilliant. There isn't a flaw in his game. And if Arsenal do go on and win the title, as I believe they will, he will be an integral reason as to why. But I do think, despite the brilliance of Arsenal and me acknowledging that, there is a slight issue with them not putting the game to bed. And like I say, Zinchenko giving the ball away the way that he did, in dangerous areas, that is against a better team. It could have been curtains for Arsenal, and that would have really stifled their rhythm because they're building up momentum now. They're not playing particularly well. I don't think they've really got out of second gear, but they're top of the league. They're 4 points clear. You can't score against them at home. You know, they're so miserly at the back, aren't they? Saliba, I think he's only tasted defeat at home once. That's how impressive he is. And these are all things, and these are all metrics that make them title winners. If you think, how do you win the league? What do you need? You need a little bit of luck. I think that they have demonstrated that they are capable of having that. I think you need to fight to the end. Last minute winners, things like that. I think they've proved that is certainly within their arsenal. You think of the game against Manchester United, for example. You need to beat your rivals. You need to beat, the mini leagues that develop across the season. You need to win those games, and they've already beaten Manchester City. You need to have the sparkle. You need to have the dazzling footballers. Odegaard, Saka, right? They certainly have that. And you really do need to be miserly and stingy at the back. And that is so important. The Sir Alex Ferguson quote about goals win games, defences win titles. That has never been more true. And this Arsenal team have it in abundance. You look at William Saliba, 21 home games, 1 defeat. He is a colossal footballer. And home form is another key ingredient to winning titles. Arsenal have won 6 games in a row. In that 6, they've had 4 clean sheets. These are all competitions, by the way. But they've had 4 clean sheets, scored 19, conceded 2. When I say that Arsenal are going to win the league, and people really do push back, people don't like to hear it, they don't believe me, they're convinced that Manchester City will win. Look at my tweet. The most recent tweet that I put out is a clip of me on TalkSport saying to the guy that I was on with that I think Arsenal are going to win the league. And it's just been like, if you look at all the comments, everybody is really, really disagreeing. But all of these metrics suggest that Arsenal will end up as title winners. And again today, they were excellent at points. I think it's important to acknowledge that off the back of a big European night, playing in the Champions League, it's new for a lot of these Arsenal players to win off the back of a European fixture. Your domestic form will generally suffer from European intrusion. If the European fixture is on a Wednesday, chances are you won't win on the Saturday. It increases the opportunity for the team that you're playing. Didn't really hit them. And you look at how Arsenal came out the traps. The game was over, wasn't it? I mean, it became a tie game, but the game was over 15 minutes into the game. And that is the hallmark of champions. They really are playing so well. The only thing that I would say that is a slight issue for them, a slight concern for them, would be just allowing Wolves into the game towards the end. I know that Mikel Arteta is a perfectionist, and he will not be happy with that. But overall for Arsenal, it's an incredibly strong performance from them for the majority of the game. Not for the whole game, but for the majority of the game. I just think they have to be a little bit more clinical. The game should have been 4-0. They should have been 4-0 up. And then, if Wolves end up getting that late goal, it wouldn't matter. Instead of that, there was a real concern among the Arsenal faithful. Anybody that sits in the clock end or whatever would have thought that there was a chance that Wolves were going to get something out of the game. But, a scintillating first 30 minutes for them. Probably one of the best periods Arsenal have had this season in terms of the way that they played. I don't think Arsenal have played particularly well across the season, which again is the hallmark of champions. You sit top of the league and you haven't played well. I think that's generally quite an impressive statement. But today they played well. There were some very impressive moments, but they just slowed a bit towards the end. But they got over the line, which is all that really matters. The substitutions also helped. They do have a squad. This is the thing with Arsenal. They do have a decent squad that they can utilise. And when you think about the players that they have available to bring on, you're bringing on players such as Jorginho. He's a European Cup winner. The experience is there. Ben White, one of their better players last year, is coming on. You've got Nketiah coming on, Havertz coming on. So there is something going on at Arsenal, and never have I wanted to be wrong more. Never have I been more desperate to be wrong. But I just know that it's going to happen. They're going to win the league. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think I'm right on the warning that I issued to Arsenal? Or am I being a little bit morose? As always, I would love it if you would join this community. Please do click subscribe. Please give the video a like. And I look forward to seeing you a little bit later. Big game tonight. I'll be back to talk to you about that one in a bit. Have a good night. Ta-da.